Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Audacity Podcast, where you get all of your bodacious,
Ooh, audacious and
so
bodacious.
look, throwing tea and confidence. I am
Yeah.
one of your hosts here, Julian of Julian Creates.
And
And
I am Aaronica from Needle and the Bell. And we are your hostesses with the mostesses.
the most, look, because the life has been doing the most.
Let's oh
So,
a
y'all.
word.
We are letting y'all know now this is literally leaving it on the cutting room floor today.
Hmm.
So if you remember from last season, these are our episodes where we just chat. There is no
Yes.
rhyme or reason. We just chatting.
We have
Uh,
a smidget of rhyme, a smidget of reason
I,
today.
I mean, we always gonna be on the 2 and 4 at all
Hmm.
times. Always on the
Hmm.
2 and 4. We ain't clapping fully offbeat. But yeah, just kind of we just life.
Life be out here, life in.
So. And it is taking me everything within me not to sell my foot on a sewing machine pictures or foot on a sewing machine pedal pictures on
I
OnlyFans.
think you should.
No,
Okay. All
we ain't
right.
there yet. We ain't there yet. Ask me next week. We
I'm
might be.
I'm trying to tell you, like, I really am trying to make that happen with Denver and be like, hey, I mean, like, I could just record you painting my toenails. Like, I really feel like it would do excellently. Like, I got pretty feet. He has fantastic hands. Like, I just
See,
feel like we could make it happen.
my feet, my feet. No, no. Nobody
Oh,
want to
but
see.
you could do different socks. Mm.
I mean, some people do have that sock fetish. That is
Yeah,
real. That is real.
I
Mm.
like that idea. I'm just saying, let me know when we're adding that to our business plan, okay? We'll just leave it there.
Look, that could be for the Patreon later. No.
Ooh,
Um,
I like that.
look. But yeah, so y'all, life. Because what I'm realizing is that everything is going up but the paychecks.
Listen, what they said the most expensive thing on four wheels is a grocery cart.
Child, look, because
Yes.
from groceries to lights to in Ohio, taxes went up. So my tax
What?
bill, yeah, the property taxes went up.
I didn't even want to think about it.
So how much like luckily it could have been worse, but my taxes went up this year about $800.
Ugh.
Hmm.
Wow.
So, and
Wow.
it's escrow and stuff like that. So not having to
Yeah.
pay that. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Pose
Was I
said,
ready for that?
yeah.
Um, so just kind of even with a good job, full-time job, with benefits and all that good stuff, up here
Mm-hmm.
sitting here like we looking at second, thirds, and fourth jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, as I have just been coached, because y'all, I needed to be coached before we got on to talk to y'all. Um, I have gifts and tools and skills that I need to tap into and to lean into. So y'all pray. That's all I can give. But this month it has started. Like, if you've been following me on Instagram and TikTok, I'm going to do 31 days of gratefulness, things I am grateful for.
So are
Um,
you kicking off our episode by saying how much you're grateful for me?
well, of course, all the time, all the time.
I like that
Um,
though.
and I know like most people do that for Thanksgiving, but I'm like, I need it now.
Yeah, we need that attitude of gratitude to help shift our perspective in this moment. Yes.
Now. And I don't know if it's interesting as I've read if you've ever read like The Alchemist, when you tell the universe what you really
Hmm.
want, it tests you to make sure that that's really what you want and
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
conspires to be around what you really want. And
yeah.
I feel like I've stated some things and I'm being tested before
Hmm.
the universe can kind of get in formation.
Yeah,
Uh, so I'm trying to remember and refocus because just I'm tired of feeling this way.
yeah.
And I'm hoping that even just these small videos
Hmm. Hmm.
help me. I'm doing them for myself, but also I'm like, I need to get back into posting daily. I need to like I'll just
Yeah.
chill. And not just I love TikTok and I love TikTok affiliate stuff, but it can't just be that.
It can't
I
just
want
be
to
that.
just fun stuff to post again. So finding reasons to like just finding something to be happy about. And I want to be the light. I want to be a light in the world. And sometimes I gotta be to try to be a light in the world is also being a light to myself. So,
Yeah. Yes. Ooh, that is it right there. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like because we're so close to it, we don't see what
mhm,
others see in us, right? Because we when we look at ourselves, we see the things, the imperfections, see the things that we wished that we were able to do. We see the things that we wish for, right? As opposed to the truth that others see. Um,
mhm.
like I feel that on a very intimate level because there's a lot of days where I'm just like, I'm gonna just walk away from it all. And on those days is when I get those messages like, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't feel comfortable or confident taking pictures of myself in this. Or if it wasn't for you showing how you looked in this pattern, I would have never bought it and made it for myself. And now I love it. Or if it wasn't for you, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
those messages are like those reminders of our light that we are actively putting out there and that are shining bright enough for those who need to see it to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But it's important that we see the light that we have for ourselves because um we deserve it too. You know what I mean? Like you deserve to see yourself as being as amazing as you feel to everyone else. Again, like I have referred to you to your account to so many of my male students who get inspired or who have said, "Oh yeah, I already follow him and he does great at XYZ," or "Oh, I love to see the things that he makes because they aren't just, the run of the mill things," right?
Hmm.
So it's so necessary to see the importance and impact that we have for ourselves because we deserve that.
And that's what I'm trying to remember. It was
Yeah.
funny. My friend sent me over a few weeks ago in a chat, and this is why you need to have positive men in your life who ain't shit. Like you need to have some men who are not on that
Yeah.
shit. Um, we were sharing some affirmations, and I had to be honest. And
Hmm.
like, you know what? These are great. I'm not even there yet. Right now, most days, I'm just trying to look in the mirror and say that you are good and
Right.
you do
Yes.
good
Yes.
things. And we had a conversation about like, because again, the negative self-talk has I've allowed it to run amok lately.
Yeah.
Self-deprecation, even in the changes in my body, I can't see them most days, and now am trying to now deal with body image issue again. Like, feel like I'm getting fat,
And
and
you,
the scale ain't saying that.
yeah, I feel like you said that. I mean, of course, you said to me offline last week,
Hmm.
but it's so wild because all I see is like, fine body Julian. You know what I mean?
And I don't at all, at all. I don't see it. I don't see it. So
Yeah.
trying to figure out how can I get back to seeing it, seeing the changes, seeing the progress. And I mean, again, the scale is not saying what I
Right.
or
What you're
that
feeling.
or as I'm sitting here waiting for the shoe to drop. Uh,
Hmm.
so yes, those type of things.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so that's why y'all again, sometimes we just got to talk, and y'all just got to hear it as we talk about gratefulness and whatever
Hmm.
things and what we sowing. So what you sowing this month? What's going on?
Um, well, let me actually kick off your gratefulness month by sharing what I'm grateful for. I'm really grateful for community. You know, um, I have a couple of really dope communities. Like one of the things that, and I don't think that people understand this about me, is that I'm actually a really big introvert, and it takes a lot to be around people and out here talking and socializing and everything like that. But I have three fairly extroverted children who like to be out and about. And like, no one really talks about how it is when you're an introvert parent who loves to be at home, loves to be with a book or a sewing machine and not talking to people. But you've got the kids who are like, "Oh, mommy, I was invited to this birthday party and I was invited to go and do this and that and the third." What that impact is and how hard it is to like make friends when you don't, when you're like, this is not really what I want to be doing. You know what I'm saying? But I've actually created a lot of really great communities surrounding each of my children. And then some as just kind of like a collective. And I just am so grateful for that. And, last night, I was hosting the sip and sew that we do, or the open sew that we do at Top Stitch Atlanta. And even just
Hmm.
being around those people, it literally fills my cup, even though it also kind of is a lot for me. But like,
Hmm.
I'm just so grateful that I have these in-person communities in addition to, of course, my virtual communities, which I depend heavily on as well. Um, and really proud of myself for stepping outside of what feels comfortable for me to create relationships where, they supersede our children, where we actually text each other for either advice in parenting or just to check in to see how we're doing. And, we're able to, feel like we can ask favors of each other without it being a burden. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like I'm carpool mom and I love picking up other people's kids, or the fact that other people trust me with their biggest accomplishments, right? Because our kids literally are that. And so I get so much fulfillment because I'm like, wow, they trust me with their person, right?
Right.
Because I don't trust my kids with just anybody. So if you pick them up,
Right.
I'm trusting you with my life as well.
Right.
Um, because Lord knows if something happens to them in your care, then it's my life that's going away. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So, I am really appreciative of that and really proud of myself for that. So,
I'm
um,
proud and happy for you that you are allowing those, like allowing
thank
that
you.
into your atmosphere, you know?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And because we forget that like those type of things are so needed.
They are.
And like even just in person with friendship and stuff like that, I struggle
Yeah.
because it is not because I don't like people. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be a burden on people. And I don't want to ever
Mm,
feel like people have to be around me or like me or something like that for obligation.
right.
So I will, it's just easier if I just assume that I get on people's nerve and I can just,
Well, my anxiety tells me that everyone hates me. It's funny because, like, when we
yes,
got on here, because
likewise.
and for the audience, we're recording this on Thursday night, whereas we normally record on Tuesday night. And
Hmm.
Tuesday night, I was exhausted because I just flown in from Toronto. And, I live in Atlanta. So not only were we navigating Hurricane Helene, kind of passing through, but not like how she was originally intended to pass through. But then
Right.
also about 10 miles away from me, there was a lab fire with chlorine that is reactive, it's water reactive. And of
Yep.
course, as the fire happened, water came down to help put the fires out, which caused the chlorine to
More.
be activated. Um, so
Hmm.
as I'm navigating, flying back in from working all weekend to getting my kids and kind of jumping back into life, I was just exhausted. I could not make fetch happen on Tuesday night. Then last night I was stuck behind trucks and I could not make it home very quick. And I
Hmm.
felt like I was a burden, to, of course, Julian, because I was like, yo, I can't make it tonight either. And I'm like getting on tonight and I'm like, does he hate me? Like,
Yeah, and y'all know I don't care.
but of course, anxiety will tell us these lies, and
Yeah.
our brains will lie to us and make us feel like there's something that exists that doesn't, right? And I
Right.
remember and for those that don't know, I was a single mom for a bit of time with my oldest daughter. And I remember, and this was a really hard time because I supported her by myself. And at the
Hmm.
time, I was a manager for a bank, and I was the only manager that was quote unquote available to work weekends. All of the other managers would just be like, no, I'm not working. So that was left on me. And so I was working essentially 6 days a week, not being paid extra because I was salaried. And I would have to bring her with me sometimes just because I didn't want her to feel like a burden to my friends when I asked them to keep her because, I didn't have
Right.
family in Atlanta at the time.
Right.
So I get that feeling of burden, but something that someone told me that has helped me navigate that is that, we have to remember that reciprocity is a thing. If we're asking for people to be there for our good times, we also need to allow them to be there for us during our tough times. And that when you're in community with people, then they're there for you for the good, for the bad, for the ugly. And they show up not because they feel like they're obligated to, but because they're honored to be there for their people.
Right. That's real. That's real. And I am struggling, like just me personally.
Hmm.
Y'all, I mean, I'll give y'all a penny for my thoughts later because I mean, y'all basically acting as therapy right now. Um, just in a season of understanding that is logical, that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
logical and the emotional are
They do
not,
not line up.
and they ain't there. And the illogical, my feelings are loud right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Loud in their, it's like a small child just
Yeah.
screaming through the void, trying to be heard, trying to, I don't even know, but just that's what's happening. Um,
Yeah.
and trying to like work through that.
Yeah.
Again, I know this ain't logical.
Hmm.
I know that this is not the case. But right now, sometimes as these things are happening, I can't stop the truck, and the truck is saying that 2 + 2 = 79.
Hmm. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and that's those are the things that are happening in my life.
I don't know if you remember, I'm gonna get back to going live again and sewing. I'm gonna get back there. Don't
Hmm.
worry, peeps. But I don't know
Yep.
if you remember when, if you remember me talking to someone where I would refer to her as Jilly, not from Philly.
Yeah.
So sometimes on occasion, she'll just send me a message that just
Hmm.
simply says, "Hey, by the way, no one hates you. You're okay." And the way that that would soothe me in a way that I
Hmm.
feel like I'm just like, it shouldn't feel this good to read as a 41-year-old woman, right?
Look.
But the way that that receiving that, like especially if it was out of the blue, because I normally start my day with everyone hates me. Like I shouldn't even share my stories. No one cares that no one actually wants to watch my YouTube channel, so don't even bother recording anything for your vlog. You know what I mean? Like I literally go spiral down there, and sometimes I will just the message will just pop up. Hey girl, just sending you a reminder that no one hates you. You're okay. And when I tell you that sometimes that literally stops my spiral in its place, maybe I'll have to just do that to you and text you, I love you and I'm so happy that you're in my life.
And I might cry a little bit. I'll be
That's fine.
honest with you.
Just
Because honestly,
make sure you got the coldest ever water cup by you filled with some water.
look. Because yeah, like I realized that one day just telling myself,
Hmm.
good, you deserve nice things. You did a good job. Myself saying that to myself, I catch myself tearing up a little bit because it just,
Hmm.
but also because it feels so vulnerable to hear it
Mm.
and to sit with it and to not say, well, but this or that, or,
Hmm.
giving the reasons as like, well, this is why I'm not deserving.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
and
proud of you
so,
for saying that out loud. I can't say my affirmations like out
yeah,
of my head though.
I have to. I have to. I have to hear it.
Listen,
Um,
don't ask me to look myself in the mirror and say them aloud. Mm-mm. I'm not there quite yet. You
I
know
don't
what I
do
mean?
it often. I can't do it every day, but
Hmm.
sometimes like I need to because I need to stop and just look at myself.
Yeah.
And not look at it with the critical eye of you did
Mm.
this or this is the problem or look at that. That's look at that skin right there. Like those
Yeah.
type of things. So yeah, that's where we at. But yes, I'm tired of being mushy about myself. So what you sewing?
Now, what are you sewing? Listen, okay, so it's October, right? And listen, one thing about me is I'm a love, because for those that don't know, I'm an avid reader. I love grammar. I love literary everything. I love all of that. So we all know that I do love an alliteration.
Hmm.
We do know I love that. So October, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be focusing on bras. I'm gonna be focusing on bottoms and basics.
Come on. Come on. Okay.
But I'm
Look.
down 50 pounds.
Yeah. Look at
And
that.
and because of that, my pants don't fit. Like even these pants that I have on, like I'm at this parent meeting tonight and I'm just like pulling my pants up, like so sorry because they're not staying in place. My apologies. But I need more bottoms. And I'm still really insanely insecure about my leg because it still swells and it's still in pain. And even though I am working to make compression socks fashion, it is still very triggering for me to see one of my legs be swollen while the other one looks completely normal and is actually looking way smaller. And I'd be looking at her like, okay, Slim Jim, I see what you're doing over there. Then I'd be
Right.
looking at my left leg who's out here, one in pain and two swollen. I'm like, bitch, come on. Like just get on the train. You know what I'm saying? So I told myself that instead of making a wardrobe that I don't feel comfortable wearing, I will just focus on the things I do feel comfortable wearing, which of course are pants. I also
Hmm.
really want to do another version of my Emmy 2015 skirt.
Hmm.
And I saw this lady walking on the street on Peachtree, and she had on what looked like exactly my pattern in this like kind of like striped fabric, but her stripes were going like both ways because of the cut of the skirt. You can have the stripes going north to south as well as east to west, and they overlap, and it gives a
Right.
nice visual interest. So I was like, I definitely want to make that. But now that I don't fit in most of my pants anymore, I definitely am focusing on pants. So I'm teaching the Protea pants this weekend, which is by Paradise Patterns. I really do love the way that Saskia did her grading because when I did the pattern test, I did a full booty adjustment and then I raised the rise because she gives excellent instructions on how to make the pattern adjustments. As it turns out, I didn't need it. Like her
Mm.
drafting fits my butt so well that I didn't have to do any adjustments at all. Now I do, depending upon the fabric I use next time, because I did use like more of a vintage feeling polyester for this last pair that I made, and they're the pink pants. So there is a little bit of stretch to it. So I do think that if I use a woven fabric that has zero stretch, then I might add a little bit, do a small full booty adjustment just to add a little bit more space in the back. But when I tell you that those pants fit so dreamy, and so you know my pattern dropped, and that is the rose skirt. Make sure that you guys go out and buy it. But I'm
Oh,
getting ready to film a sew along for a corduroy version, and my pattern does call for an invisible zipper, but put whatever zipper you want to in there. But I got from Crafts Hallway this really pretty like lace kind of like external um zipper, and actually sewing with Seaway. She was in my pattern test. She's so fucking phenomenal. I love her so much.
come
She
on.
did her skirt in this corduroy with this exposed zipper. And I was like, you know what? You didn't have to pop off the way that you did because this looks gorgeous and I have to have it. So I'm just going to essentially recreate that as well.
I love it. As you should. As you should.
Yes.
What am I sewing this month, y'all?
Hmm.
Because this is like the month has gotten to a point where I got a whole bunch of stuff to do now.
Yeah.
So I altered a dress for a cousin of mine,
Okay. Okay. Alteration.
who has also like body is shifting and stuff like that after childbirth.
Mhm.
And she's tall, so she is 6'4".
Wow.
Mhm.
Zers. Okay.
So like finding stuff like when
We
she
love a
finds
tall
something,
queen.
she gotta go for it. So I was like, okay, yeah, come on. So like size it down at the side
Mhm.
seams, stuff like that, straps. So she is I need her to try it on before I remove the excess first. I'm like, try this
Yeah.
on. Well, we do that. Um, I was part of Brandon Happily Dressed pattern test for his double waist pants.
Yes, me too.
So I just took those pictures today.
Oh,
Uh,
I can't believe you didn't text them to me.
I ain't said those to nobody yet, but
Look, I'm
yes,
like,
I'll
do you actually hate me?
child stop it. Um, but yeah, so I did that. So doing did that. So I'm also kind of doing a fashion show a little bit.
Okay.
I think. I think.
Okay.
I think we're still doing it. For Blink, which is a light festival here in Cincinnati. It's one of the largest light festivals over covering Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky with different lighting installations. So it has to do with things like reflecting off light and stuff like that. So I am doing it's giving tinfoil, but in the best way possible. So I need to make my outfit and stuff for that.
I can't stand you.
I mean, it is, but I love it. It's going to be a tinfoil moto jacket and my 2079
Ooh.
pants. Um, so yeah, we and I got matching silver shoes to match. So yeah, we're doing that. But now since I'm doing the original sewing and quilt expo in a week or two, I need a new sewing shirt because my sewing shirts don't fit. They're too big. So, I rebought fabric.
Okay.
And I think I showed you this before. This is the first fabric that I'm about to make a sewing shirt out of. This is a vintage Alexander Henry print.
I am in love.
So
But also,
this
I'm
is
just like, can we make the white people black?
So here's the thing. So this is why, yes, because normally that's what I believe. I believe I don't usually wear white people on my body. And just being honest. Or
Yeah.
at least I like representation in my fabrics. But
Right.
this is the Alexander Henry Home Sewing is Easy fabric. It is literally the comic sewing book that is called Home Sewing is Easy, from the 50s.
That is so
Um,
dope.
the reason that I loved this is because my aunt, who was, of course, in her teens, like teens in the early 60s and stuff like that, had the book Home Sewing is Easy. And I found it in my grandmother's stuff many, many years ago as a kid, and I kept it and always would like just go through it and stuff like that
Yeah.
and rebought it. So this was before I sewed, but I had like my grandmother's sewing machine and stuff like that. So this was part of that collection. And rebought a pristine copy of Home Sewing is Easy. So when I find the fabric, um, originally, what's his name? Mel Pattern Boatness made a shirt out of it, and I made one too. But even before then, I think it was sold as a shirt by a designer company. Um,
Okay.
but I was like, I need this. So I have another shirt in this fabric, but that shirt is now a little bit too big and it's short sleeve. So I'm going to make a long sleeve version of the shirt so that I
Now, are
can,
you going to take in the long sleeve?
the short sleeve, you mean?
Yes, the short sleeve.
No, I'm going to keep it as it is. It's not like too big, but I want a long sleeve version of it. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, so I'm not going to take that one in because I like that shirt as it is as like a piece of there's a reason I made it. It's good. Um, so I'm going to make another one by next Thursday. So
Oh,
there's
wow. That's quickly.
mm-hmm. Um, what else? Those are the biggest things that I am doing so far. Oh, but then also for Black Soy Network, I'm doing two Sunday lives. So
Okay.
we are doing a corset.
Ooh.
So I'm doing one of the corset by Caroline's, her waist cincher corset, her cincher
Okay.
corset for men. That's my plan. Me and Shishi and I think one or two other people will be doing that at the end of the month. And then we're having another, I think it's myself, Will, and Terrence are going to be doing another live sometime in the month. I don't know what we're on yet, but it's like a men's live.
Ooh,
So
I love that. I love that.
so sewing is happening.
Yeah.
I do need to like try the probably make a mock-up of the corset pattern just to
Mhm.
kind of like fit work on me.
Yeah.
Um, but that's what I'm focusing on. Also, I was really proud of myself because the Brandon's pattern, I cut it out all on
The
with a
projector.
I did. I did. So got that set up. It was a lot simpler than I thought. I don't know why I was struggling before.
I don't either, but also just as a shameless plug, I've got
Should.
how to make adjustments to your projector pattern pieces. That
Hmm.
class is coming up Saturday, October 12th, and it's from
Come on.
10 a.m. to 1 to from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are projector sewists and you were interested in learning how to make those adjustments, I will be teaching that class, and I will make sure that info is in the caption.
Perfect. But yeah, and plus, if y'all are even interested in learning more about projector sewing, y'all know to go to her website. She has full guides and everything there. That's what I always make sure before I buy something, she checks it to make sure I should buy it
Hmm.
or projector. But this works for me. I
Yeah.
had the ultra short throw and we struggled, and I don't know why we struggled.
Mm.
This was super quick, super easy with this um mini projector. I don't know why. This
Yeah.
one worked better, but I ain't had no
And
issues.
I started out with a mini projector, and I
Mhm.
think that's why it was easy for me to go to an ultra short throw and teach on an ultra short throw.
Okay.
But I actually just got in another mini projector from a brand so that I could showcase what it looks like to use their product with projector sewing as well. So I'm excited about that.
Come on. I don't,
Yeah.
but yeah, this one I'm like, oh, I like this. So
Yeah.
definitely can see myself doing more of that. Even thinking about cutting out the corset with a projector, but I'm like, we'll see, because I might have to do some other like trying on and fitting some stuff. So,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I have other plans and other patterns already in the midst
You know,
to
that makes me happy.
with the projector.
I love
Um,
that.
so yeah, we doing some stuff, but and these are the things that are making me happy enough to keep moving as
Yeah.
even if the voices, but not the voice. I ain't hearing voices now, y'all. It ain't like that. It ain't like that.
The
Keep it
only
cute,
voice he's
y'all.
hearing is his internal voice. It's fine.
Right. Keep it cute. But just kind of like these are the things that keep me mindful, keep me
Yeah.
going.
Locked
So
in. Yeah.
needing these. So I'm glad there are some projects that definitely keeping my using the projector does also keep the table clean, which is helpful.
Facts.
So
Right.
um
As we see, mine is not clean, which is how we know I haven't been cutting anything.
which I mean you look in the opposite direction, but mine is special at the moment. At the moment because I also today was a work from home day. So usually
Yeah.
when that happens, the work computer and stuff comes down here too.
I know that's right.
So so
Everybody is welcome in the sewing den.
sometimes, not all the time. Because sometimes work is like, nope, you need to be in timeout. Like when work ends, work it needs to end. It can't end and
That part is very true. I was looking around because I'm like, you know what? I actually don't like that idea because these kids, they be coming up in here like Kalima's purse is on my table like it belongs there. You know what I'm saying?
oh, she don't want a purse.
Her little TikTok purse that I got. Oh, that reminds me.
Hmm.
Your girl did her first homecoming dress for someone outside of this house.
Come on, come
Um,
on.
and it turned out excellently. She was so excited about it, and that made me feel really good because I remember what it was like to be bigger than my peers and not be able to find something that I felt like was age appropriate for me
Mm,
and feel comfortable and confident in it. And so I was happy that I was able to make that happen for her, especially because her mom is such a dear friend of mine. So when she asked me and she thought I was going to say no, and y'all already know I'd be like, I don't sew for other people. And so I was almost fully prepared to just be like, oh, nah. But I did it. It was not hard. And I was like, wow, look at me. I used the Blooming Bustier dress
mm.
from By Gracie Steele. And By Gracie Steele, or actually her name is just Gracie, but she just had a baby, the cutest
Oh,
little bundle of joy. And so I was excited to even support a new mother in with purchasing that pattern and making it. But now, of course, your niece has her homecoming coming up. And per normal, she's over here sending me multiple dresses, like, oh, I think I want this one. And I'm like, girl, you about to just get whatever I can figure out at this
you gonna
juncture.
get this little tube dress and be all right.
Cause
Mm-hmm.
she's over here sending, she's like, I think I want it to be sparkly. And just like with feathers, I don't really like sewing with sequins.
I mean,
Although
nobody.
I will say that Jilly from Philly sent me a picture of the sequins dress that she was working on. I was like, okay, maybe I will do it. But she was like, I want a corset dress and I want it to be sparkly. And I'm like,
Not a
girl.
corset, not a sparkly corset dress.
I'm like, all I know is that them chores better be done every day. I better not have to say anything about that kitchen. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, come on, because look, look, they
Oh,
better
not her
know.
actually coming in and trying to interrupt my podcast recording. Mm-mm. You see? Messy.
This tense.
This is what life with a teen is like. No, I'm
Pause
not
for the calls,
brainstorming.
y'all. Pause for the calls, y'all. But y'all, like again, this cutting room flow, y'all.
Cutting room
Life
floor.
be lifing
It
and
does.
and
And parents be
everything.
out here trying to parent and live.
Just ghetto, just the ghetto.
It
How
is
about
the ghetto.
just the
Parenthood
ghetto?
is the ghetto. But yeah, so I'm gonna be working on that. That's obviously a big project for this month because her homecoming is towards the end of the month.
Okay, Come
And
on.
then, of course, I get to kick off the first weekend of November in Cincinnati.
Oh, oh, look at that. That's right before my
Mhm.
y'all, why is it, first of all, why is it almost November already?
Why is it already the end of the year? We are in the last quarter. And you know what I hate it when people do? They'll be like, oh, we're in the last quarter of the year. What can you do today in order to get you closer to your goals tomorrow? And you're like, you know what?
Scratch my
My
ass. How about
anxiety is
that?
anxiety already on its own. Like, I didn't need this extra pressure. You know what I'm saying?
So I heard something today. I've been reading this book. Let me look it up because, I would just be finding random books on my on Hoopla and whatever for my life.
Mm-hmm.
It just that's what we're reading. This book is called The Higher Help Method. So talks
Oh,
about
okay.
manifestation, but also utilizing spiritual practices that are in like bring in your ancestors and spirit guides and all that good stuff with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm in the first part. And one of the things they said was, or she said, was really sometimes with our goals and stuff like that, we get real specific and real like with the time and the method and how is it going to
Mm-hmm.
happen. And actually that makes it worse.
Mm.
You got to allow the miracle to happen as it happens. So you can say what you want and say how it makes you feel and why. The how you get there and all that other good stuff, the details, that ain't for you.
Yeah.
The timing that it comes ain't for you. Allow the miracle to be the miracle when it comes.
Allow the miracle to be the miracle.
And
I, yeah.
that's where I struggle with like goal setting and stuff like that because it's the trying to figure out the step by step of it. Like I just get overwhelmed and then I just don't do it.
Okay, give me
So
that book title one more time.
it's called The Higher Help Method by Tammy.
Got it.
Um, yep, Tammy
It looks
Mas
like masturbate, but I know that's not it. So,
Mastro Berte.
Master Birdie. We
Yeah,
love that for
something like
us.
that. Something like that. So yeah, that is
Wow, it's highly rated. Everyone's giving it 5 stars.
I so far I'm enjoying it. I am
Okay.
really enjoying it. So yeah, that is kind of where I am thinking and it has like talking about meditation techniques and stuff like that as part of
Yeah.
it. So yes, I
I
feel
like
that
that.
this could help build some positive just habits that are needed.
Yeah.
So
I like that
mhm,
a lot. That's good. That's real
mhm.
good.
But the fact that the permission just to be like, you can know what you want and how it would make you feel. That's all you
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah.
Allow everything else to kind of work on your behalf. And I especially have studied like some different spiritual modalities and different things like that. And one of the things I've always loved is that especially in a lot of African spiritualities, that you have your ancestors, and your ancestors are
hmm
then kind of they're able to advocate on your behalf. Now, no, they
Exactly.
they just don't do it. They ain't like Santa Claus. You got to also give something to get something. But they're there to advocate on your behalf, the good
hmm
ones. Now you can do work to elevate those ancestors because if your daddy, if your uncle or something ain't shit in life, they ain't gonna be ain't shit on the other side too. That
And
ain't
they
the
not even that's not even who we want favors from.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. That ain't who you try to get an advocate for you, but other ones. And the idea that even if they are no longer in this life, in this
hmm
plane of
hmm
existence, they are still in existence for you. And you can see signs and like signs that they're still there with you, that there's still that peace. And even as death happens and stuff like that, there's that excitement that you have those people who are on the other side cheering you on to see you do well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I like that. I like that. I feel like that also falls in line with like the universe conspiring for your success. You know what I mean?
hmm hmm
Um,
So now is you have to also conspire. You have to see that you can get
right.
it. So
Yeah.
that's where if I can focus on that piece and not have to focus on how I'm gonna get it and how it's gonna
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
that makes it easy.
I like that. I like that. I like that a lot because I feel like that also goes is kind of in line with the whole pray and then work. right? A
Mhm.
lot of people will be like, oh, just pray about it. Okay, cool. We prayed about it, and now what? Now we got to put in that work. I feel
Right.
like that definitely, regardless of what you believe, they all are along the same lines, right? Like if you say a prayer, then you do also have to put in the work, right? Because you can't just be over here being like, hey, God, BT dubs, love it if you could send me a milli just real quick, but then just be sitting on your behind. Because
Right.
how are we harvesting seeds that we didn't plant? You know what I'm saying? There's
Right.
no fruit there for us. We
Right.
got to put in the work at the same time. And so I feel like that is really in line with, whether you're Christian and you talk about praying, whether you're like Buddhist and you talk about the universe, whether, regardless of what religion you practice, I feel like that is definitely on that higher spiritual plane where we should all be focusing our energies on, putting in that work. Like we can't ask for things and not put in work. That very similar, like Kalima is not about to ask me to go to no sleepover without that kitchen being clean. You got to ask and put in some work and you got to have that intention, that level of follow through. I
Right.
figure since she's eavesdropping on my podcast recording, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
she better
Just lay
know.
down some messages for her as well. You feel me?
He better know. She better know. She better know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Better know. But yeah, it's yes, definitely. And sometimes the work is actually just kind of how you think about it
Yeah.
and how you operate in it and how you see yourself. Sometimes that's the work. And that can
Yeah.
be the hardest work because it's actually internal. You gotta get real familiar with yourself
Yeah.
and child and I'm tired. I feel like I'm familiar enough, but actually to stop and think and actually get real with your own self.
Mm-hmm.
And that is sometimes that is the hardest to do. Like I can talk about it. I can talk about things very objectively and not fully be connected to it. But when I talk to myself about it, you have to
Mm-hmm.
be connected to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So,
I feel like the talking about things and like I gotta talk through what
mhm.
I'm navigating, everything, you know, because I feel like the talking of it makes it reality, right? Like, actually, in fact, before we jumped onto the podcast, or rather, before we got into the recording of the podcast, I was telling Julian that I'm finally ready to kind of share that I really do have the intention and I'm announcing and using the power of Nomo, also known as the power of speech, to put into the universe that I'm ready to join academia. Like, I want to become a professor, like, I want to become a fashion or sewing professor, in higher education or even high school students. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that I'm about to put this as a status in my Facebook, knowing that my Facebook network stretches far and wide, you know what I mean? Knowing that this could be a very real possibility that I'm putting out into the world today, can be scary because, like, what if I'm not prepared to put the work in? But then I also have to remember that in order for me to put it out there, I've got to be prepared for the work.
Right.
I can't just expect for it to come and not have to bust my behind to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's real. It's the putting in doing the whole piece of it and doing the
Yeah.
whole work of it. And I think that is in the season that we're in for a lot of people, it's that piece. I think
Hmm.
that a lot of things that are happening for a lot of people is that we are getting to the place of uncomfortability that we now have to actually go for what we want.
Yeah, we got to move. Yeah.
Because otherwise, like literally, we are the we are like the frog in the pot. If you know the analogy of the frog in the pot, a frog, if you put a frog in boiling water, it will jump out. But if you put a
Hmm.
frog in water and then heat it up, by the time it realizes it's hot, it's stuck and it dies. Okay.
Hmm.
What is happening now is that we have been in places that the water has been heating up and we have it's been sitting
Mm.
there, but it's now heating up hotter, quicker, and we are
Hmm.
realizing that it's hot.
Hmm.
And we need
We're
to
not
now
about to be stuck either.
if we're gonna stick and die in the mediocrity of it all, or like we are being given a chance. Like that is the grace of
Yeah.
it all. We're given a
Yeah.
chance as it's getting hot now to make moves.
Yeah. And one thing I do, and of course this goes back even to initial what we were talking about, but one of the things that I do love about my community that I'm creating, and honestly, this is actually one of my favorite things about myself too, is that if I'm going someplace, I'm taking my people with me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
which means that if I'm hopping out, oh, I'm pulling everybody else
Oh,
around me. Let's
it's time to
go.
go.
We moving. It's
Time to
time to
go.
go. It's time to
Right.
go. And I think that having that or having people in your corner like that, the people who say your names in rooms that you're not in, the people who are advocating for you, the people who want to see you success, but not on a passive way, on a
Right.
very active way of, okay, so I'm pulling you. Like I get it. You're down. That's cool. You're gonna be up on my back for this portion. That's fine because I'm gonna jump on yours when I need rest as well. We're
Right.
resting, we are not quitting, right?
Right.
And I think that it's important that we surround ourselves with people who are saying, hey, it's cool to rest because rest is part of productivity. But what
Right.
we aren't doing is stopping, right? If we need to move slower, okay, we can move slower together and it might be
Right.
my turn to lead, but we're still moving. And I think that is really, really important, because like if we're both up in this water heating up, one of us might feel it faster and I'm a hop or you gonna hop and we're gonna pull each other up. And I think that's super important, especially because the notion, and I love A League of Their Own with, of course, Gina Davis and Tom Hanks. And one of the things that, of course, Tom Hanks says as the coach is he's like, "There's no crying in baseball." And when you join the business world, then it's like there's no crying in business, right? There's no crying in
Right.
this. But the truth of the matter is that there is crying in business. There is crying in entrepreneurship. There is crying in growth. And I think it's fine, right? Because I'm gonna cry and move.
Right.
I'm gonna cry and jump. I'm gonna cry and get uncomfortable. I'm gonna cry and you know what I'm saying? I think that we have to really understand that people are not a monolith. Like we can be emotional and productive. We can be
Mhm.
emotional and be growing, and I think that is really important, especially for the phase that we are in our lives. I was telling Julian as well that for me in this season, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm being as productive just because of my health stuff. Like I really am feeling like so tired and I just need more rest. And she's like, you're not in the season of harvest. You're in your season of like growth. Right? Like you're in your season of healing. And in order for you to be prepared to harvest what you've been planting, you have to rest right now, or you're going to hit your harvest season still exhausted. And I
Right.
think that that's really valuable for where both of us are right now because we've both been out here planting, we've both been out here sowing the seeds. And if we aren't careful when it's time for that harvest to come up and it's time for us to be out here catching our blessings, we're going to be over here looking for the buckets because we forgot where we put it because we were so tired. And so it's that season of rest, it's that season of rejuvenation for us. And, for the season of harvest, we're going to be ready.
Amen. I receive it. We're gonna be ready. Because so that we can be ready to harvest all that is there, so that we don't leave fruit withering on the vine.
Facts.
Amen, y'all.
So
So,
we do actually have a question, a
oh,
user,
come on, question.
a user submitted question.
Come on, questions.
And I think that this is a fantastic question to ask. Um, so this, so Peyton asks, do you have any makes that you ended up totally hating? Like you spent all that time and the final product was super whack.
Y'all have seen mine. Y'all have seen mine. Um, we just gonna be real about it. Know Me 2018. My my early spring pattern for my first early spring pattern that I took pictures of the pants, the high-waisted Hollywood trouser pants that in my mind I love them now. Then I did
Mm-hmm.
not. For a while there, yeah, I always hated those. Like once I was done with them in the initial like picture taking. No, those pictures are also done while I was full active COVID and was trying to not pass out.
Right.
So there's that. But hated them at first. It made me feel it made me hate my body. It made me hate so many things.
Mm.
Um, I've redeemed them, but yeah, those first, that gray pair and that white pair. I think I fully threw them away.
Mm. Yeah, I gotta be honest. I felt like, I don't know. I felt like you didn't feel good in them, and I feel like that translated,
It
if that
did.
makes sense. Knowing
Okay.
you, and I don't know if people who don't know you like we're able to see it as well. But like knowing, like seeing even how you did the pink jacket or the pink
Third.
shirt
Hmm.
and seeing the energy there versus the energy of that pattern,
Hmm.
it's like two completely different people. Like Harpo, who that man?
Yeah, yeah. I will admit that. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
But we put it out there. It's there. But and it needs to be there. People need to see that. I need to
yeah,
see that. I need to be reminded. But that was real, and I was not feeling it at that time.
yeah. Mm,
How about you?
that's good. Yeah. Um, for me, I saw these cider pants and they were like a denim. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I was hacking my Emmy 2028 pants to make them, and I hated them so much. The crotch was too, like, the crotch was just baggy. I did it the wrong way, and they're hanging up behind me, and I'm going to use the fabric to do something completely different. But, like, I tried them on, took them off, and was like, cool, never doing that again.
We have those moments, yes.
Yeah,
These are like a one and done, and will never be done again.
yeah. And then we have a second question,
Okay.
which I feel like is also a really great one, especially given that we talked about what our October plans were for sewing. And that question is from Lilia. And that is, how do you manage all of the ideas you have for projects?
Pinterest
Mm,
or just notes. But saving the pictures and stuff like that, like having those type of mood boards is important.
yeah.
Especially as I'm like, I still want to do the capsule wardrobe, but these other things have like I got to get those done first.
Yeah.
So, um, I am like saving those ideas and stuff like that in a space together. Even like project bags or project boxes and bins. So if you see a pattern like, oh, I really want to do this, you already know the fabric
Mhm.
that you want to use, and if you already own it, put them together.
Yeah.
Like put them together and put them up. So even if you
How do you
can't get,
prioritize like what you're going to work on first, though?
so if it's a due date that, but if it's just me, what makes me feel good at that moment?
Yeah.
So if it's a fabric or something like that, sometimes this is an event that I want to wear something for, and it's something that I already have an idea for. That
Yeah.
I can be totally a magpie. It's like a squirrel, and whatever is squirreling at that moment in my head is squirreling. So this, like even the jacket that I am doing for this fashion show, had been in my head since what, last year before last. Like I looked in my Etsy. I had bought the pattern for it originally at my old size 2022 maybe, and had not made it. But then,
Mm,
and I've had this fabric for over a year, but just had not come up to make it yet, and now it is. So just all depends.
yeah. You know what's what? So I was looking at my Etsy purchases. Why did I buy the same pattern twice? And not even like months apart. Like literally like 1 week and then next week I was like, oh, let me get this pattern.
Oh, well, I
Not me
mean,
looking at myself different because I was like, girl, do a better job.
I do
Okay.
that. I do that with paper patterns, even vintage paper patterns. Like, oh, I want that, and then realize like, oh shit, I got it already.
I
And
actually
forgot.
feel like with stuff like that, you can't have too many because like what if like one false move, now you messed up a pattern piece. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean? Now you got the backup.
right. That is true. That is true. But also if it's a vintage pattern, I'm not cutting it, so it's getting traced and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, even if I see it and it's in the size that I already own, I'll still like, oh, just in case, I'll put it in like a like. I keep a watch on it just in case
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
in feel like I need it. So,
Yeah. And I feel like I organize my projects obviously very similarly, which is of course what prompted my Pinterest inspiration to closet manifestation because I was pinning so many things and just not actively working on them. And so that's how I organize mine because I feel like I'm at this point in time where um one, of course, yes, sewing. is my focus, but styling is also part of my focus because I feel like I see a lot of people who make their things, but I don't see a lot of people who are styling their makes. And I legit wear what I make. Like these pants that I have on that are too big that I've got to take in, and I'm not getting rid of them because I love them so much. I made these like 3 years ago, you know,
Right.
um, and I wear them on average once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, because I really just love to wear the things that I've made. Um, and I prioritize my makes very similar to you by what I need. So like I've got 1,000 pins, not literally 1,000, because I definitely like started a new board that was like Pinterest inspiration to closet manifestation. But like right now I feel like I need more pants because none of my pants fit. So like I'm prioritizing pants. And then also the things for my kids. So like um my girls both have boobs and they need bras. So like that's second, so very similar to you with prioritizing like the need. Like what do we need right now? And then it's like what is a fun sew or a fun easy sew.
Yes.
Um so
Like
yeah,
that.
that's how I do that as well. I love having user submitted questions. So if you also have a question for us, make sure that you slide into the DMs of either myself, Julian, or the Audacio T podcast on Instagram so that we too can answer your questions as well.
Absolutely. And y'all, thank y'all for allowing us to have this time of just cutting room floor stuff. And please let us know what's on your mind as well, because life been lifing, and it ain't lifing just for you in a silo. So know that you're not alone. Let's all work through this together, like we working through a Vogue pattern or something like that.
Not a Vogue pattern.
Yeah. But y'all, thank y'all so much for listening to us this week. We hope that y'all are going to have a good week going forward. Find some time of rest and ease. We are definitely holding light and love and prayer for those in Florida, for those in Tennessee, and those in the Carolinas, especially North Carolina, Asheville area. Um, just seeing all the devastation was crazy. I mean, my power was out for 28 hours. We should, and I keep on saying we should not feel a hurricane in Ohio. Um, they should not, there should not be that level of devastation and that level of flooding in the mountains. You know what I'm saying? Like
Wow.
the high areas that are seeing this, and it's just crazy. So we will continue to pray for them and stuff like that. Definitely.
That is bananas. Yes, absolutely. For them as well as Asheville, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. But y'all, please share with us what you are sewing this month. Share with us how you feeling. Just how you doing. How you doing? How your mom and them doing? Y'all good? Please let us know. Y'all know how to reach us. But until next time, y'all, find some time to talk to yourself good. Be good to yourself for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Talk to yourself good. Look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're good.
Yes.
It will make you feel good. And I mean, by saying look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in your eyeballs. And do not look at yourself and look at your body and look at the things that you need to change. Do not look at your makeup. Do not look at your hair and try to fix your hair. Do not try to smooth out a wrinkle in your clothes. Look at you in your eyes and tell yourself that you're good and see what happens.
Mm.
Until next time, y'all, please, please, please stay creative, stay audacious, and stay sewing. Peace, y'all.
Bye.